It's Monday. Not sure how you did it, but you actually survived an entire 2 days without hearing from Tom. Good job to you. And once again, good luck.
Hi, this is Jack O'Brien, and I could tell you stories. Like this one. His mother said it took a full 24 hours of agony to birth him, so she named him Tedious. Tedious Jones grew up in the town of Royal off 301, just south of Marion County. His mother, Salome Durow Evers, came to Royal after she married Alonzo Pickett Jones in Jackson, Mississippi. Salome was a cousin to Medgar Evers, and when he was assassinated, she was seated at his funeral next to his lawyer, Thurgood Marshall. Turns out they all got along real well and even exchanged letters. Letters she often quoted to encourage Tedious, especially when it came to piano practice. Tedious couldn't wait to run down to Miss Thea's to practice on the town's only piano, a real old beauty with big gold letters on the front that said, Cable, Chicago. When he wasn't playing, he'd sit on a small sandhill and observe. As he watched, he composed. When he wasn't playing, he'd sit on a small sandhill and just observe. As he watched, he composed in his mind a musical description of life in Royal. And when he played, Miss Thea heard and saw it too. She heard the clouds pass over swaying fields of Timothy with the grand and swelling fullness of Art Tatum. She heard the sunlight sparkle through the tops of the live oaks with the perfect rhythm and flow of Billy Strayhorn. In the pounding dissonant chords and key changes that could have been Thelonious Monk, young Tedious showed her the men of Royal leading their mules through the fields, their weights splayed over the crossbars of ancient tillers. Thing is, Tedious had never heard anyone play jazz. With each practice session there was more new music pouring out of his head, and those who heard him play were convinced that God himself, with tears in his eyes, held that empty score sheet up so Tedious could write upon it. Today, and 16 platinum albums later, the world-famous jazz pianist is meeting his old friend and bassist, Vernon Williams, at Le Versailles Assisted Living Facility. Although they haven't seen each other for over 15 years, Williams eagerly agreed to play another gig with his old buddy. Williams eagerly agreed to play another gig with his old friend. There were probably 30 people. A woman and 3 men were sitting attentively near the stage in a small group. Vernon figured they were the hard of hearing. For 2 hours, the old friends entertained themselves in a crowd that only got larger as the afternoon wore on. And of course, there was wild applause at the end of the concert. An aide walked toward the woman in the hard-of-hearing group. Tedious stepped off the stage to join them, motioning to Vernon, who could see now that the woman had cloudy eyes that were of no use to her anymore. Vernon, he said as he placed her wrinkled hand into his friend's strong fingers, I'd like to introduce you to my mother, Salome Jones. It's very good to meet you, Miss Salome. My name's Vernon Williams. She ran her pencil-thin fingertips all over his strong hand, top and bottom, and she reached out with her other hand, fishing for Tedious. She gave a squeeze to each of their hands. Tedious kissed his mother's cheek. She patted the side of his face, waved goodbye, and walked away with the aide so Tedious could be with his friend. Vernon knelt to put his bass away. He glanced up at Tedious, who just dropped the fallboard over the piano keys. That's an old piano, I bet. What's that say on it? Tedious didn't need to look down. As the image of a little sandhill in Royal flashed across his memory, he replied, It says Cable, Chicago. This is Jack O'Brien. Thanks for listening.
Like what you've just heard? I Could Tell You Stories with Jack O'Brien is brought to you by Brick City Digital. Hi, I'm Michael Warren, and at Brick City Digital Marketing, we believe every business has a great story to tell. Our job is to help your business tell your story in a way that brings more customers to your door. We help small businesses just like yours with web design, social media, SEO, video, and more. Visit us online at brickcity.com or call 352-351-1131 for a free consultation.
Jack O'Brien tells some. He's a good storyteller. You can listen to him here every Monday, brought to you by Brick City Digital, or we also will play it sometimes on Wednesday, and definitely we will replay it on Fridays. But that's Jack O'Brien. He's a great storyteller, and we appreciate that he's here with us. We got coming up at the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to talk with somebody from IBM about travel and how the IBM Cloud is helping alleviate some of the stress of travel right now. Right now, I want to give you a tropics update. There's a tropical storm or depression possible before system makes landfall near Georgia or South Carolina. The National Hurricane Center is monitoring 2 systems in the Atlantic Basin. The first, which soon could become a tropical depression or tropical storm, is forecast to make landfall later today near the Georgia-South Carolina border. That according to the National Hurricane Center. The next name on the list for that is Danny. So there's a small low-pressure system located about 300 miles east-southeast of Savannah. The associated shower and thunderstorms activity remains disorganized. Most of it is displaced in the northwest of the surface center due to strong upper-level winds. It's forecast to move quickly, crossing over the warmer waters of the Gulf Stream this morning. It has the potential to become a tropical depression or storm before reaching the coast of Georgia or southern South Carolina by this evening. If it does become more organized, tropical storm warnings could be required for Georgia, South Carolina, and possibly parts of North Florida. Regardless of development, a few inches of rain are possible along the immediate coast of North Florida, Georgia, and southern South Carolina through tonight. An Air Force Reserve Unit reconnaissance aircraft is going to investigate the system this afternoon if necessary. Now, there's a second broad area of low pressure associated with tropical wave, and it's producing a small cluster of showers and thunderstorms over the eastern tropical Atlantic Ocean. Some slow development is possible through the end of the week while the system moves quickly westward to west-northwest at about 20 miles an hour. It'll reach the lower Antilles late Wednesday or Wednesday night. Now, how likely are these to strengthen? Well, the one off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, they gave it about a 60% chance in the next 48 hours. The formation chance for the next 5 days is for the disturbance 2 is 60%. So just to look at the tropics, as you know, WOCA is your tropics headquarters. We keep you updated on all that goes on in the tropics with storms, and we get you prepared for, and we'll be here through hurricanes if they come our way. But this one sprung up at off the coast of Georgia pretty quick. There's not much warning. It'll be tropical depression or tropical storm. Tropical depression is anything under 45 miles an hour. Tropical storm is 45 to 74 miles per hour sustained winds. So they're going to send a reconnaissance plane in to look at it sometime this afternoon. But if you live in the Jacksonville, Fernandina area, or if you know people that live over here, you're traveling in that area today, or Savannah, you're going up 95 through Savannah into South Carolina, just understand there is a possibility that you could run right into a tropical depression or a tropical wave around sunset. They said this evening around 7, 8 o'clock is when it probably, with the speed it's moving at, it would probably reach the coast of Georgia and southern South Carolina. But because that area is so cramped between Jacksonville and, say, Hilton Head, South Carolina, all those areas would be in the path of the rain and some of the wind from that storm. So if you got to travel in that area today, be cautious. Find some alternative routes. I know a friend of mine's, he tells a great story that after Hurricane Irma came through and all, his son looked at him and said, "Dad, next time a storm comes through, we're going to Michigan." So, maybe that's actually a great idea. No hurricane in Michigan. So get as far away from it as you can. But people sometimes take these storms lightly, and you should never take these kind of storms lightly because they still can be very dangerous. Coming up next, hour 2 of the show, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Today in Ag News from a Southeast AgNet, more than a